musicians now. I'd like to exceed my current stature, but at the same time, you know, it's tough. It's tough to find a way to do that without doing some clownish stuff, you know, whether it is talking that game, doing it real big and like kind of tricking everyone into thinking you're bigger than you are, which may be a key to doing it. I don't know. That might be a necessary component of becoming a really successful rapper. Like, you trick everyone, be like, yo, I'm gonna be the next big thing. And by the time everyone's already invested in you and they realize, oh wait, he wasn't the next big thing. They're like, well, we're already here. We don't want to look stupid, so let's just make him the next big thing. You know, like it's a weird industry. It's very weird. And I know that's not unique to rap, but it's just, that's what I do. So it's just strange. Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, even in the company of others, and I'm flattered by it, but if someone's like, yo, this dude right here is like the illest rapper right now, and I'm like, that's chill. I mean, like, we're braggadocious in this culture, but like, I can't just like be like, you right. Yeah, you say that. Like, it sounds ridiculous. Like, I'm an adult, you know? I can't just be like, there are rappers who are my friends who I think are better than I am. So it's dishonest if I'm like, yeah, I am the best rapper. I'm better than my friend who I know is actually better at this than I am and who's an influence on me, you know? Like, it's funny when people are always like, oh, you gotta step up to be the best. You gotta wanna be the hungriest. You gotta be the illest. And it's like, nah, that's turning art into a bad sport. And I don't like that. That's on me. If we want to make more great musicians, enduring musicians, don't think like that. Because then that's what I call like Rico Dynamite syndrome. You're always going to think about how big you could have been if you just got that touchdown, but your values are all messed up. You're not thinking about the great things you did in your own right. You're just thinking about what could have been, and you're living by other people's expectations. So, you know.
Definitely. First of all, that's funny because you sort of came out of the most sport-like part of
rap.
Yeah,
for sure. And I got told coming out of battle rap, I got told a lot more stuff about the culture by people who had never done it than I would ever talk about it. Like people pontificating, like, yeah, man, because battling, it's like the rawest, purest essence of MC. Because like sharpen your sword against these other gladiators, and I'm like, we're just insulting each other. And that guy's a travel agent, you know, in his real job. You know, like let's scale it down a bit, you know. And like, why is it? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy to me that it's just, to me, battling when I was growing up, what I looked at it as a kid who was rapping and who was coming up, what I saw it as was just something you did, something you had to do for fun or for like, but not to be like, yo, this is one of those rites of passage. It's not that serious. Rap is serious, you know, it's an art, but treating it like it's some sort of holy quest, it's like kind of like delusional framing of like some like lone samurai in the hip hop wilderness. Like, we're all people with regular, you know, with like real things on our minds, and people care about real things. So talk about those. Don't weave this fantasy about yourself, you know. Yeah. So to me, battling was dope. It's important. It's part of hip hop, and now it's more a part of hip hop in its own right, as its own aspect of the culture, separate even from rapping on beats and stuff. It never has been. Absolutely. You know. So that's impressive. That's incredible. I think battling is more developed and better than it ever has been in a lot of ways. And I'm privileged to have been a part of like the resurgence of it that happened in the latter half of the last decade. You know, it's an honor to say like, oh, I was in grind time on the rise of it. I was in like the re-emergence of Smack DVD / URL, King of the Dot. Like that's Don't Flop in the UK. You know, all really, you know, distinguished, you know, parts of the culture. But would I say that it helped me as a music artist? Probably not, because it is so separate now. The battle world showed me that there's not as much of a sense outside of those types of communities for like building, supporting, growing. It's like cutthroat, you know. There's a very like competitive drive, and like I'm not about that. I'm not really a competitive person at all. I think competition is generally like it's really a misguided impulse in most fields as opposed to collaboration. And I'm not saying that on some like hippy dippy like, let's all just get together and like put our third eyes together and we'll radiate positivity. Not like that. But you get more out of collaboration because you get the best of everyone potentially. You do competition, you do this winner takes all mindset, people get stomped on along the way. And that person you stomped on, whether it was in the field of music, whether it's in athleticism, whether it's in, you know, education, some trade, you could have missed out on their one shining moment where they do some great, brilliant thing for whatever you want in society or the world. Like, so I'm not a big competitive person, but battling taught me how competitive people are and how much people crave to see one person just crush another person. They say things, I'm like, I just had fun. I never came out of a battle like, yeah, I'll break that motherfucker, big shot. You know, I wasn't like beating my chest. In the moment I might have been, but like I chill out and I was like, oh, it's fun, shake hands, cool, let's go home. And you know, that's my homie now. People like, I look at these YouTube comments, people like, yeah, fuck that dude up, fucking hate that guy. I'm like, that dude did nothing. I stayed at that dude's house after I battled him. You know, like that's a good person you want to see embarrassed, humiliated, and have like a personal vendetta against this stranger. And I didn't know that. I didn't know people were that hungry for that type of satisfaction. So I stopped battling partly because the narrative was too much about that, and the music didn't get any space. You know, when I dropped my first album, Soul Icon, I got to talk about it for like 2 minutes out of 30 in radio interviews at the time, because I was still in that, you know, in the arena, so to speak. And luckily, as time went on, it just became music. You know, and I understand we're going to keep going back to that like for as long as I live. You know, if you type in rap battles on YouTube, I'm on page 1. That's not going to change.
It's also a cool thing.
It's a cool thing, but it's like, and I respect it. It's just there's so many things also though that I used to say in those battles I can't be proud of. I can't really look at with any respect, and people fight me on that.
You have
but
particular moments, because I was going to ask.
Anytime I use homophobic language, wasn't cool, and I tried to rationalize it in like the sort of South Park way, like, oh, it means something different. I'm not talking about gay people. That's just a word I'm using. Like, no, it's insulting because of the implication that someone is not masculine, not heterosexual, not, you know, all those words. Yeah. People say like, yo, I'm just saying bitch. I'm just calling you bitch. So I'm talking about women. It's like, it's only offensive. It only has power. The word bitch only has power because, like, it's like a term against a man, because it implies a lack of masculinity. That's the only reason why. And people can try to dance around that, but they're lying to themselves. And I'm not, it's easy to lie to yourself. I still lie to myself sometimes about some stuff that I try to like, that I grapple with, you know? And you got, you know, like, everyone has to, you know, in an ideal world, people will grapple with those things, like the way they use language and in music too. Yeah. You know, because that's one thing I'll never like as a rapper. I do think about what kids think when I say that. Doesn't mean I'm going to keep it clean. I'm not going to stop saying profanity. Parents shouldn't let their kids listen to it if they don't want to hear profanity. Parents aren't vindicated of absolving responsibility just because I'm conscious of what their kids are going to hear. Right? But I'm not going to say some stuff that I think is irredeemable. You know, I don't use the word bitch in my music anymore. I never use it to describe women in my music in the first place, but I don't really even use it to describe as like an insult to men. Mm-hmm. And if I skate toward that boundary of like sort of like heteronormative, masculinist, you know, rhetoric, I watch it. I think about if I feel like it could really influence someone or really reinforce the problematic attitudes that I don't like in society, I take it out and think of something else. Because I can't mess with it. And a lot of people would be like, oh, it's just a song. It's just blah. It's like, yo, it's just one song, and then someone else just has one song, and it accumulates and accumulates, and all the bad shit that you hear and that you may not like as like a socially progressive person who listens to art or consumes art that's not consonant with those values. Each piece is part of it. Each piece, and you gotta gotta be willing to take it every single case and not just be like, oh, it's just an isolated thing.